their diet, but they haven't always won on catch, surprisingly, when it has come up. And maybe that's been because it was an auto ban for teams playing against NIP for the longest time, so maybe they were a bit rusty. That's a good start from Get Right.
Yeah, and did Taz have some grenades? It sounded like he may have been going for a lineup potentially, but it could be some info for Get Right. But at the same time, VP doesn't matter. They're going to be pushing straight into that Checkers room, and they'll be able to trade their way forwards. But still, Rez is creeping. They may not expect him, having taken down a player already in this position. Indeed, Rez, oh, there it is. I don't know if they had any idea about Neo, to be honest. Still gets the frag, and now it's just Bialy left on the site. And his chances aren't too great here. They're trying to overwhelm him. Playing around the boxes, though, will find some small success, but eventually they will be too much. 1-0.
I think when Get Right pushed into Squeaky, they thought that, okay, well, if they're getting info here, we might have an opportunity to try to go somewhere fast, but they, I think initially were relying on some kind of fake that maybe Taz was going to throw with his nade set, and when that all fell through, I mean, you would expect Ninjas would take it. In the last map of the final versus FaZe, they had really good CT setups, and they were very confident about holding on to B and playing 3B constantly, and they're very confident in their retakes on A, and I think that was a big reason why they won.
I was playing Pistol DM the last few days. I did a search for servers under 50 ping in LA.
Yeah.
And I looked for Pistol DM server, and I found quickly Get Right and Exist connected to the server. And then I went for lunch, came back an hour later, and then Cold Zero and Taco joined, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I saw your tweet.
It's a very unique server. Yeah, it's just like Cold Zero would, it seemed to me he would just play a position on a site in the Pistol DM and basically try and defend his position, whereas normally I just run around until I find people. But anyway, there are 2 people who have been lost here for NIP. There's a minute on the clock, so Virtus Pro still have time to rotate, and they've picked up a UMP.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty good result for them, all things considered. I mean, with only a limited investment of just Deagles, the Deco, which has become more popular lately, and I think it makes a lot of sense. For that investment, you can get such a massive return. The utility, sometimes you need with utility when you're going to be using it. If you want to make an investment to actually do something, you actually sort of have to invest probably well over $1,000 in utility. And you don't want to do that as well as buy up all the Deagles. So I like that they go for the damage here. It's a really open map, and so in that sense, you're going to find a lot of opportunities. And they did. Got some good damage in there. Keep NIP's economy somewhat honest.
The Deagle's an interesting weapon because you're really banking on, I mean, when it comes to balancing the game, you have to think about, well, it's a Deagle, you can kill it one shot, you can kill it any range, and if you have really good aim, it might be worth it. And we see sometimes, I mean, especially with FaZe, for example, they can buy Deagles and almost always make it worth it. $700, they get some of that money back.
This is going to be a good lineup for Exist. Rolling up with Deagle as well, no animation of course. So you play both for NIP. What I like to do on rounds such as this is, like, if you look at how Get Right plays towards B on the T side, he will bounce the smoke off the wall into the front of B to take the angle away from any sniper. So on an eco, I'll do that and then get people to just burst through the smoke with a flashbang, or maybe not. But it can be more powerful later on in a match when you put that smoke down and they're used to it and you don't make that play, because you can catch people out of position. Anyway, buy round is in for both teams. All AKs in versus Pro. They've got good utility. Looking for their first round win. Barley headed towards the squeaky door, and NIP look like they're going to continue the aggression that we have seen from them as of late. Reinventing themselves like Madonna. Does that make Threat Madonna? I wanted to say yes.
Okay.
Threat is Madonna.
Well, it's great to see too, just from the perspective that on the catch, you've got to be aggressive. They've got these leftovers, the MP9 and the FAMAS, so it makes a lot of sense to get the early round advantage or try to leverage that somehow, and they've managed to do it. Exist still once more though. It's rare that you would see a player go up again, and VP setting up the nade snacks. It's lucky that Exist had an MP9. With most other weapons, I think he's very dead there. We'll move into Draken's position. There is a player there for the trade, multiple in fact, but they're not budging an inch. Here the flames will prevent anything from the door, as Draken will safely reposition behind the red container. And things look quite good here for NIP in a 4v3.
We don't see enough wallbangs on this side of the door from an AWP. Important kill, and an important trade. Rez at the back. That's going to be a problem for Virtus Pro. They need to push through this smoke. They got down themselves to try and get the bomb down. Viali will deploy the flashbang, but not much he can do. Rez will spray him down as well. 4-0 for NIP. Money's not terrible for the Swedish side. Lost some players here and there, but looking good. This is a big opportunity this round for them, as VP won't invest much. Although they will be at max loss bonus, so maybe they'll go pistol Kevlar. No, just pistols.
One of the interesting things for me with this NIP lineup is that Draken and Rez, they're two very young players. They're obviously two very young players. They don't have a huge amount of experience. If you compare to Gera and Forest, you could say their experience is you know, a drop in the ocean. But the thing with those two players as well is that now they actually have a big result on land. So I do wonder how that's going to impact Draken and Rez from a confidence perspective, because I feel as though it's going to have more of an impact on them than it may necessarily have on Gera and Forest and Exist, who have actually been performing pretty consistently well over the last few months, despite having, you know, some big result to sort of validate that they are in fact incredibly good at this game.
Absolutely. I think that if you're Get Right or Forest, you're not really thinking about improving. You're more so thinking about getting back to your peak, because you've played for so long. It's kind of difficult to really just improve on a game that's ultimately quite simple. And you know, with you playing thousands of matches already just in CS:GO. And for Draken and Rez, they're also thinking about getting used to the land pressure, which is a huge and invaluable skill.
And best of 5 versus FaZe. So that's a good test.
You're right, like knowing that you have the endurance to be able to go through a best of 5 on land in a final, that's a lot of valuable experience in and of itself.
Versus the most dangerous team as well, on an individual basis.
And I think surely won a lot of fans, that is for sure. Especially Rez, who was named MVP of the tournament by many pundits and by HLTV as well. Statistically, he was incredibly impactful, as well as just in the game.
For those wondering, Rez, those weren't random shots with the Deagle. He's shooting the vent open, so the CTs can quietly boost in there later on. As you can see, he's missed a shot. It is running with the Deagle, not really advisable. You can do it with a USP, which would have a better moving accuracy. That's what he was trying to do anyway. You can consistently shoot it through that shutter, but just not necessarily with the Desert Eagle. But most of the time, you're not going to have that pistol there. So.
Did you know that from the back of Checker through the top box, if you spam through with the USB, you won't break the vent, but it'll make the vent breaking sound?
Oh, that's so sick. I love those little details. That's great.
Wow.
I didn't know that, actually. That's pretty cool. That makes sense.
Well, you know.
You can make music.
Surely eventually it will break. It just takes enough shots. Does it not have HP of some kind?
It's just a bug, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, that's interesting. Well, it's a pick off already for NIP, but Viali able to get a pick onto Rez. And the split begins here. We've got them going for that highway door and main split potentially, and the picks are going incredibly well here. NIP unable to win a single 1v1, leaving things down to Draken. And should Draken die, that means no more AKs for a while for NIP, which is sad. It always feels like such an accomplishment when you are able to carry an AK through multiple rounds as CTs. It feels very good. But no more, surely. Draken will die. Surely they'll spot one another. There we go. I wonder if Snacks has like a Spider-Man sort of like, something's going, you know, something's not right about this.
Yeah, it's always important. I think a lot of people will hear noise and then they'll forget about it. They'll just think that they were wrong.
Yes, yeah.
There's a situation where Snacks is like, I'm pretty sure there's somebody here, and make sure to clear everything. Now VP had a really good answer to NIP's setup. For whatever reason, thought that potentially they could be stacked today, but once they took mid control, were able to compromise that boost position, which was huge for NIP in holding A. Avoiding Squeaky in A main was the best way to do that. And now actually another bit of aggression. Like to see this on the CT side of Cash, constantly finding an area that you can push as they poke around in A main.
Well, Ali should have heard them jump off the box. Should have the information that main has been taken. Oh, it has great positioning there. Exist lucky to escape, so Exist's legs are showing. And he can see nothing. Nice from Biali. That's I didn't know. I mean, obviously that spot's good for looking over towards mid as well, but there's a bonus.
Yeah, that position looks incredibly advantageous for Tazwils. That's awesome. But they have to do something with the 4v4. They do have 50 seconds to play with, so there is some time here to set something up, and they've got middle. And they've decided to try to split into the A site. And LIP are playing fairly passive positions at the moment. The highway smoke there for Snacks to get up close, but the CT side of NIP will realize that that's going on here. We've got a player ready. That's Forest, ready for Snacks, but Snacks will go around the back.
25 seconds, and seems to be going mid to B, so Snacks to 3. That second kill would have been humongous. Draken has a line, 16 seconds. Does he play the clock? If someone goes to headshot, surely he's going to die. And they've gone past him already, but he's going to land a shot. That's a huge frag. That's a player that he will get taken down, but Get Right keeps Barley away from the bomb, and now the round has been won. He doesn't need to show, and he knows that. The round's over now. I'm sure he'll go for the kill regardless. Passion will try and save on the low ground. Do some extra damage as well.
I love how Draken played it, that he, even though he didn't take the peek towards checkers, I actually think it's kind of cool that he really went for the delay tactics.
Yeah, he was in delay mode. He had a teammate in Z. That teammate will typically flash for you, but his job is to stay alive. When the clock goes red, his mind changes from, oh, I need to get 3 kills here, to, I hope my rotator can get here in time while I'm still alive. And he puts himself in a position where if they run up headshot, that's not a good fight for him, but he still hits an amazing shot. So VP had a couple things going for them, but you know, he answered back with his good aim.
And they sort of know that he's there as well. And if he doesn't show himself, they sort of have to commit more players towards the site, as opposed to being in good post-plant positions already, securing checkers and so on. So his teammates get an even easier time.
You guys saw Snacks holding the bomb. He wanted to throw it to a teammate. Definitely doesn't want to throw it on the floor, because that does give a lot of information away for free to the CTs. So you can fake it by dropping a weapon, because I'm pretty sure it makes the same sound. So versus Prody, third map control in other directions. Oh, that's a massive second frag. That is huge. You won't see the bomb, but the damage has been done. 5 versus 3, no answer for Virtus Pro just yet. Either miss their option, they need kills, but the trade will compound the problem for the Pole.
I like that NIP decided to have Get Right play close mid and have Draken actually watching with him. Because again, a big option for VP is mid at this time. A lot of CT sides will go very passive, and they'll play one really passively in mid. Maybe he's checking from Z connector, but that's about it. So I like that NIP are understanding the options of VP, trying to actively hinder them. And we can see that now that time is becoming a really big problem for VP.
Away from B, and then back into B, through the vents, but it will have mixed results, and I think Pasha will try to hold on to the AWP here. 10 seconds remain. So this is a monster start for NIP.
Yeah, this save might be a blessing and a curse. He's going to have the op in the next round, but they're not going to have a lot of money left over. I hope that they actually don't consider buying on the back of this and just holding on to it, trying to make use of it and double saving. But
we've seen there's a round I'll never forget, which was on the T side, where Virtus Pro had money to put Passion on AWP and not money for anything else, and they force bought around it. So basically they had this plus a few pistols and Kevlar, and they won the round. I forget who it was against, but it was so awesome to watch. So maybe they'll go for some of that. Don't really need to invest beyond what they have already. But maybe they're discussing it because they have that memory in their head.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes if you have a buy like that, that's worked before, and obviously they're down 7-1, so that's going to factor into their decision. Maybe they decide to do something crazy, but money-wise, they just don't even have enough for a supporting rifle. I mean, it's hard enough to get that opening kill with the op. Pasha hasn't been forward getting impact, so
yeah. I mean, I don't think they should invest around this. He can drop his CZ to someone. He definitely should, and he will do exactly that. So someone will pick up a CZ with Snacks. So in that infamous round, I think he went over towards B to try and get a pick, but he'll do what he can do. Looking for an opening towards mid, but he's being smoked off.
So 2-2-1 for NIP. They have somebody in the vents, someone watching from connector, and they're playing solo on the B side in a passive position. So pretty standard setup here from NIP. Of course, they've thrown a lot of aggression at VP, and again, actually, Exist will slightly push the door here. And this is interesting because NIP obviously They have a very limited presence towards A now. There's a vulnerability. Draken, though, looking quite solid towards middle. He will abandon the position now that Snacks has taken hold of it. And they should be aware that Norp is around, so...
There's a smoke onto Virtus Pro. On Snacks. He can smoke highway from that position, but I don't know how useful that would be in this particular situation. The cross to the site may be more useful. Obviously, going through Squeaky can help with that, but still causes problems elsewhere, like Forest's position, trying to pepper these players. But he'll only go 1-for-1, which isn't enough in this situation. Great angle from Draken, but he misses the shot he really needs to hit. And then lands a hard one, as per usual. Riley left alone, trying to get some more damage in, but it will only be 2 players in this round. 8-1 for NIP.
This is kind of a similar situation to the second round, where they're fortunate to get a plant, but I think they were planning on having to save the next round as well. They're on 3-round loss. I think they spent enough money last round that they're... Oh, no, they do have enough for a full buy. All their grenades and so on, so it's actually pretty critical that they got the plant right there. I was going to say they have an extra round to do it, but Pasha's going to be right back to the op. They have another option, and we see that the aggression continues. Even on that round, Exist pushed Squeaky, which might have potentially been uncalled for, but NIP have been keeping the aggression up and finding good pitches to do it every single round and do it safely, so I'm not surprised that they got away with it. And just with that one round of Exist getting caught off guard, it's not a big deal.
The aggression towards main. All the players... Seems that NIP had an idea of what Virtus Pro wanted to do, so that's great timing for a smoke grenade. Really unfavorable engagement. Get right. Doesn't see Neo in the mist. Unfortunate for him. So mid's being taken. That gives Virtus Pro some extra options.
This is so good. They've been also answering back when they lose a player, even if it's 4-4. And Rez is pushed all the way through B, but he's not going to account for Checker. And he's actually kind of far away, so I don't know if he'll even hear a vent drop. If Virtus Pro move quickly, they could get B, but obviously now this looks like it might be a CT-sided push.
I think he started the push at about 117, so that's actually like a really early timing for a push on this map. So Rez takes the long way around, he plays it really safe, he knows that he has a lot of time to work with, and he's got so much info here for NIP's. Just basically cleared every position apart from the B positions. NIP stacked towards A, they start to rotate back. Can they get themselves into position in time? Rez is going to go for the backstab here onto Taz, and that will be a big kill here, removing the presence from the B storage position, and now they have to worry about B storage and the bomb site and the players rotating in.
Exist making a play with a flashbang on his zone. Not going to work out for him. Rez will buy some time with a flash off his zone, but they don't know where these players are. The pre-fire won't be enough to take down Pasha. This is falling apart. There's 8 seconds there. The bomb's got to go down. Hero grenade won't do the job, and it's unfortunate for NIP, but Forest is still in it. 1 versus 2. I'm sure he'll go for this. Trying to create some space with the smoke grenade. Got a play moving into the high ground outside B, and one on the site as well. But how can they play the trade frag situation, especially with that smoke? If he creeps through the corner, Forest, he may be at a disadvantage. He's got a defuse kit. He has no more grenades. He's managed to find a hole, unless the player on the high ground looks towards his position. And, yeah, he'll come out and finish off the job there. So NIP played the information game, but he was indeed abandoned.
Yeah, they did. I think they had A main control, and if Rez had flanked mid, he definitely would just want to clear out, kill anyone on boost if there was anybody, and I guess VP were lucky just by the sake of timing. They were able to push out mid at the correct moment, but he went so wide that it almost didn't play to their favor. And by the time he started coming back from A, he just looked like a player pushing A, so he was almost at risk of being cleared. He was fortunate to get a kill, and they still had a chance, but Exist decided to flash himself through the smoke because they didn't want to retake B. I think they had a better opportunity to slow it down a bit because they had that big flank come out right away. So they had plenty of time to go for a slow, methodical retake and didn't want to do it.
Get right with the forward position, past the smoke. Will they check for this? Perhaps not. Get right. Realizes that he's gone undetected at this point and that there may be a window. And this is now a very hard position to play because he understands that he has opportunities to actually push. But it's all about understanding how far can you go, what positions do you want to take, what makes sense, and also what information you give your team here. So he spotted one going across from B storage, get the kill here, and now he'll realize likely that it is that A push coming in. In fact, it's given away by the actual push right onto the site, and Draken starts the defense off pretty well with Exist also. It's not looking too bad at all for NIP. That flank coming into play as well, and that's the round for them. All off the back of that initial aggression from Get Right.
It's interesting that Virtus Pro are putting out the quad smoke. Something that went out of favor because it can be helpful to the CTs when it's time to push through it. If your flashbangs don't go the way, as you can see, free kill there with the AWP. So we'll see if that changes. It's the first time we've seen that from the T side. Now they're on pistols versus Pro. They've been reset again. That is absolute disaster. No grenades. Just there's basically 3 people on the B side. The bomb is now at the feet of these players. There we go, 10-2. Great start for NIP.
They're doing, I mean, as far as Counter-Strike goes, we're seeing some great Counter-Strike from NIP. We're seeing them play the map well. We're seeing them able to execute individually. We're seeing them like reading the map on the fly and making on-the-fly adjustments as a team. Everything looks really confident. Rez is being aggressive at perfect timings. No one's overstepping their aggression when they actually get something with like some forward map control. They manage to play it perfectly every time. Right now, it's hard to really put a foot criticize them whatsoever.
Yeah, all the aggression is absolutely necessary, and you can see why. It must be so frustrating for VP. Everything they're doing is getting stepped on. But there's a good push.
Ooh, they will not expect Rez. You don't expect that third player.
Just a nice shot. One plant isn't committed to. Running goes wide. Maybe should have got a kill there, but it is what it is. 11-2 for Ninjas and Pyjamas. Rez has a very forward spawn as well, so we'll see if they opt for yet more aggression.
Rez is 17-3.
And, yeah, and Draken 17 frags as well. And they're both playing, actually, they're both playing B, aren't they? Or no, sorry, Draken's a quad, yeah. So yeah, they're on the opposite sides of the map, which makes a lot of sense. PP have been able to kind of open up mid, but the Draken's also been supporting
Normally,
as a flex player.
If I play mid, and I'm normally smoking the entrance, if I know that the T's are on an eco, I'll put a Molotov down first. In case they go for a explosion play with flashbang, and then smoke into the Molotov when necessary.
Nice. Again, it's great to see that Rez is being aggressive again, and it's an interesting thing because you can really criticize this in a round such as this, because if you're playing alone as a rifler, it's very easily possible that you can be overwhelmed by your opponents, and if they decide to push in, that would happen. Forrest not happy that his frags aren't so clean. He's had some trouble so far this match getting some clean connections, but I'm sure he'll be happy with the 12-2 scoreline.
It's pretty amazing to me that they had such a long haul flight, and Rez already is looking like he's still on land. He's looking like...
He's young, man.
He's young,
He's young, it's all new.
It's 10 AM LA time. So this should be awake regardless at this time. Ouch! Let's see how NIP can deal with this. Virtus Pro got 3 people moving into the B box. Like Forrest looks for the flank and then looks away just at the wrong time. So it does look likely Virtus Pro will get a much needed 3rd round on the board. This is the last round of the first half. That is a good grenade. But they're still at a 2 versus 4 situation. NIP. Yeah, it could be expected. Makes its way through for a brief time, but now the Draken. And now it's not.
I love the coordination though on the flashes. Get right flashing for himself, and then 2 flashes chained out, and he's gonna run to the left so everyone gets blind, and he almost gets the kill.
Taz didn't have fun.
Not at all. Oh my gosh.
1 for 13. Well, maybe the CT side is where resurgence will be had.
It's one of those scores that looks great backwards.
Okay, well, it's going to be the B-Rush here for NIP, the classic. B-Rush can't go too wrong with that. CZ on Get Right as well as some Kevlar. So Exist offering himself up so that Get Right can be powered up here. Let's see if Get Right can get something with that CZ, or if the USPs will reign supreme, and they will. So far, so good here for the USPs. can't complain with this quick, clean sweep. Welcome to pistol rounds in CSGO. You never know what you're going to get.
Straight to the M4. I love it when I can buy an M4 second round. But depending on the position, obviously, that I'm playing, but
So,
it's nice.
interesting stat about the M4A1S is that at the LAN, I believe it was like, I think 3.4% of the kills or something was the M4A1S. So it was below the Deagle, the USP, the Glock.
What's the M4A4 for a comparison?
I think it was something like 15-17%, if my memory serves me correctly. So it's a lot higher. And an AK is like 30%, something like that.
I like the
AK,
idea of giving it another magazine.
AK then AWP. Yeah, you know, it definitely sparks some discussion. People, but you'll always have the issue that you've got two guns essentially doing the same thing. So, and one is just frankly better at the moment. So it's an interesting issue for Valve to look at.
I think give it another magazine, and then it's not going to make it overpowered.
Yeah, the rate of fire already makes it underpowered, I think.
Yeah, I mean there is an advantage to be had in that you can spray through. You can spray through smokes in a situation where you're seeing lots of players get killed while they're spraying through smoke because of the tracers. So maybe there'll be something OP to. I don't know that.
I agree. And I mean, part of the reason you would want this, the sell of it, is that it has, you know, there's no tracers and it's quiet. You know, you want to be able to spam smokes, but you never feel like, you always feel like you're going to run out of ammo if you do that, so
Maybe what they have to do is, if you're shooting at a smoke, the bullets do 2 times damage.
two
Smokes.
times
In
damage.
smokes, yeah.
Yeah, and
Amplify damage.
big- oh my gosh!
God damn!
Assist boys.
That's a nade and a half, isn't it? How much damage was that? I'm sure it will give us that fancy
I'm
statistic.
saying 200 plus.
It's got to be close to 300.
Yeah, I'm saying closer to, if we're counting jelly beans right now, I'm going to go for
Yeah.
312 damage.
I'm going sub 250.
I'm going to go 311.
Okay. Oh wow, smart bet.
You never go first. You never
damn
offer
it.
first.
My idea, so it's
Maybe more than 311. Come on, just die already, track it. We must know. We need to know. 224.
224.
Noobs.
Oh.
Told you, man. Sub 250.
How'd you know that?
Too many hours.
How
I think
did
you
know
just
that?
guessed. How many hours do you have?
6,500.
That's a lot.
I was playing matchmaking with Pico earlier.
Was he impressed?
It didn't go so well. Our teammates were really, really, really bad. I think they're some of the worst people I've ever played Counter-Strike with. Well, we've got a big fight in our hands. It's a very fast play into Vent from Forest. He'll be cut off at the legs. 2-1-2 set up for the versus Pro boys, but Neo is playing Rotator. He may give his position away because Get Right is around the cube, but Get Right's got to be careful. He can't just hunt the frag. See someone connector as well. He's got to pick his timing wisely, and he does. Surely he looks for the trade frag indeed, but he's not expecting him from there. Hello, he's got bullets in the magazine as well. And Virtus Pro are getting pulled out of this round, one by one.
Did Snacks have a UMP or something? How did he not get the kill?
That's one of those frags that it's like you've got to have played Counter-Strike before to understand why it's so impressive. It's like when you have to turn around, knowing that you have to reset yourself. You just shot. You've also got to reset your mouse. The stuff you only know if you've ever held a mouse, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Get Right goes from white cube to running through B to kill a player towards B. Taz is white cube, probably wondering how he got there in the first place.
Well, Get Right was there at like 130 or something, or 125, like some super fast timing. So I'm not sure, like, we didn't follow Get Right's perspective. I just noticed that he was there very quickly. So I'm not sure exactly how, but then he waited for so long. And obviously, just as you mentioned, James, like he was waiting for those sound cues and he sort of understood, okay, I've heard running for this long, and he has to be running back. So he understands the timings.
Rez is going for a fast peek into mid with his spawn. Ooh. That's a very good start for Virtus Pro. Neo is doing colossal damage here.
Wow.
Hello. Well, that's pretty much the round over. That's exactly the round Virtus Pro needed as well. They have a very high chance of surviving with 3+ players here, which is what they need. I'm surprised Rez didn't get a kill. Often you'll find a CT running along the structure by the vent, trying to get close, or crossing.
I love that. I really like that NIP did commit to that kill. It looks kind of stupid, but in reality, they can't 100% know everything that's going on in mid, so they can't necessarily know that, okay, there's another player there in a very good position. It's going to be very hard to kill him. We're going to be in a 2v1, that sort of thing. They're just sort of really committing to the play and making sure that, okay, we've invested something and we've lost a player, but we've got nothing but out of this. Let's double down. We have to get something from this. And then it's like, okay, nothing worked out. We're in this position. That's fine as well. They just have to do damage. That's like the new objective here. Do a lot of damage to VP, get some AWPs out of their hands, and make them uncomfortable in the future rounds. But I don't know if you feel the same way as me, Mo, but it looks stupid, but I like it. I like the confidence.
Yeah, the confidence is really important, especially when you're at a deficit. It matters. But here is a situation where it was 2v5, and Neo running through Squeaky gave him an opening kill with a minute left. Now they have the opportunity to actually lock down 2 players on highway with utility.
Oh, that's a shame from Forest. There's a lot they could have done with that smoke grenade, but that really wasn't necessarily the plan.
Can he trick anything like the smoke at all?
No, it's worse for him than it is for the opponent because they're further away from him. So, well, it's working out for them. 2 versus 5, and now it is 2 versus 1. And what's happened to this round for Virtus Pro?
Wow.
2v5.
Leave it to the old guards. Get right in Forest. The whole duo. And they dismantle VP piece by piece.
You know, we were watching it from the perspective of the NIP players, and we talk about setups and all the things that Virtus Pro could have done positionally better and so on, but there were some fights there that they could have just won based on how much time there were between the 2 people shooting at each other. And you wonder why they didn't finish those kills. Like here, for example.
Crazy stuff. NIP, honestly, it's so good to see them just playing confidently and just trying to win individually, because they do have the structure and the tactics and the overall ethos behind it now. And I think that confidence really was one of the missing parts. And they obviously have it back. And we know that the likes of GetRight and Forest, just as you said earlier, Mo, they're trying to find their peak, their consistent peak again. And we know that it's so incredibly high.
Lack of information for Virtus Pro. They've got no control of the middle area, and as you can see, they've got no eyes on short either.
You know, I wonder if it's as surprising to these players, let's say like these 4 players, or Neotaz, let's say Neotaz, Pasha, GetRight, Forest. I wonder if it's as surprising to them that they can continually come back to form, since they are the people carrying the torch for everybody who is an older CSGO pro, with 15 years experience.
Great pre-fire from Rez there. For the re-peek. Saw some nice communication as well when the player on the site was tagged and GetRight finish him off through the door. It's always nice when you do that. Pasha's been spotted, he's trapped.
I mean, it's a very good point, because I think that there's this like very interesting thing, like psychologically, that happens when you're like right at the top, where you to stay at the top, you have to actually be to some extent like very humble, but at the same time very arrogant. And it's this weird duality that exists, whereby you believe at the same time that you're the best player in the world in the most delusional way that you can. At the same time, you understand that everyone you're playing is just really good, and that they can just outplay you. So it's like this really weird duality that you have to walk to achieve really good performance and have very high levels of confidence, whilst not allowing it to go to your head in a bad way.
Because you've got to still deathmatch for hours every day.
Exactly, yeah.
Play a lot and justify it. And you can't do that if you're too arrogant, right?
Yes, yeah.
You're not going to be able to motivate yourself to try if you think that you deserve to be the best. You still
Absolutely.
have to earn it.
You appear to be on fire, sir. Hasn't taken too much damage, however. The utility has been expended. I love that the Molotov is still there on the other half of the vent now. Nice updates that developers don't always get credit for.
That was actually was that Molotov dropped onto the wood that Snacks was just on right there? Because I think it allowed him to save himself from having to drop out of vents, make it look like vents are still Molotov, and allow him to just sit there at the edge of it.
There were 2 mollies in play.
No, but yeah, if he dropped it onto the wood, would it have still extinguished just the back of the vent?
I don't know. Both CTs around car and connector, forcing him into the open, and the stereo frags will keep versus pro in the game. But it's an expensive round for them, and NIP can still buy, and NIP might have a better buy.
I feel like we might see a fast round just for, you know, mix up on the tempo a bit. Either that or very slow. I feel like NIP are gonna look to mess with the tempo. They'll know that VP's economy is gonna be a bit fragile as well. So let's have a look at their approach. They've only got 2 players who've got a lot of grenades, so that does sort of reinforce the idea that they'll play faster. And they are moving very quickly towards A here, so it does not look like a default from NIP. I think we are going to see a fast hit onto the A site. And meanwhile, VP have actually stacked towards B at the beginning of the round, so this may work out well for the Swedes.
They do have to move quickly, though. If they respect these smokes too much, it's not going to work.
And here they go. Rez, he only had a deagle, so he will be just taking it in the face. Really part of his job in that situation. 3 versus 2 now. The bomb site's being taken. This time it's Draken and Get Right. See if they can do it again. It was Forrest and Get Right last time. At least Get Right can see through the corner of the smoke while he plants the bomb. Some confidence in that. But he's got to be really careful with his positioning. Draken holding an angle now. Forced away from it. Draken's one of the flash spots. Get Right. That's 1 versus 3. Trying to bait the shot out. Down he goes. Peek from the CTs. Still dancing as Draken. But his dance has come to an end. There's no kill on these players.
He got one.
Okay. That would have been the end of the round.
I like how Draken won that fight. When you're an AWPer and someone's shoulder peeking you like that, you have to have this like really good sense of like how much they have to peek to actually sort of properly be able to capitalize upon you reloading. And it's really hard to judge that, but these top level AWPers like so perfect, like so consistently good at just crushing shoulder peeking players.
It's a key thing about visualization that you have to know exactly where your target's going to be as soon as you cross the angle, and to pre-aim properly.
What the point of no return is.
What a cliffhanger!
Yeah, I was gonna say, was there something more?
No, I mean it's like when he shoulder peeks a bit too much, and when he presses the other key, and he's just going to be dead still for off second, and that's when you shoot.
Okay, and there's something about the way that like the intonation or something. I just expected there to be something.
Oh, like it was a movie trailer or something.
Exactly.
No, it was just nothing more needs to be said.
One man.
There is a point where it's like he's shown me too much. That's his final mistake.
The anime mode. Oh, I like this. 4 door. This is the Henry G.
It was 1, 2, 3, and 4.
This is the better eco strat than what Virtus Pro did in the first.
Take A site by
To go squeaky with a cross smoke and bust out. This is the best way to do it.
one man followed by force. It's a good start. Watch out for the forklift player though. Although there isn't weapons in the world here for NIP. Patch is on point today at least. There is another match to play. We'll see how far this comeback goes. I mean, maybe it goes to overtime. It is going to be a long road, but Patch's AWPing is on point today.
Did Get Right buy Kevlar? Did he have a lot of money or something? He is the only guy in the team that had bought Kevlar. But he bought not just Kevlar, but everything. Kevlar helmets, everything. Interesting.
Teammates buying helmet is not something which is guaranteed when you play matchmaking in North America. I've learned this week.
Against the CT side.
Just in general.
In general.
In general.
At what rank?
Buying armors.
Legendary Eagle. It's crazy out here, man.
That's ominous laughter.
It's the Wild West.
Quite literally. Oh my gosh.
Double mollies again, and Taz has taken a lot of damage. He's got a teammate in for support though, but Snacks, how deep will he go? Grenades continuing from the T side of the flashbang. But it seems NRP will be maybe looking to show some presence elsewhere, but Snacks, I'm sure he's going to peek. There's a flash from his teammates, so they know no one's close now. What did the CTs do with this information?
Ooh, be careful about this little battle. The funny thing with that, obviously, the angle's like so restricted. You do feel like that like for me, as a CT, I don't really want to be taking that risk ever. But as a T, I'm like very happy to take that risk of the wallbang battle. Because you know, if you die, okay, sure, whatever. But the times that you get the kill, it's going to be so impactful.
Yeah, I think the key is just not spraying at the same time the other guy's spraying, and just trying to figure out what his tempo is for bursting at the door, and then trying to get in the middle of it, and hope to shoot him while he's setting up. But yeah, it's a winning battle for terrorists. They're happy to get 50 damage.
At this moment, a strike from the door. That's a double from him into the bomb site. Now, all of a sudden, a 3v1. Snacks is last man here for VP, and he's all that stands in the way of NIP taking this map. One of the 4 that they need, that they must win of their remaining matches to make it to Cancun. And Snacks is here to make things ever more difficult. But he really needs to get closer to the side here. Oh, that's such a hard task. Pulls out the M4, and that's that for Snacks. On cash at the very least. 27 and 24 for